Welcome to MathLink Academy, where we connect the dots. I am Mr. C, and in this lesson, we want to go over multiplying and dividing sign numbers. Great lesson to go over. So let's get started. Multiplication of sign numbers. Procedure for multiplying two or more sign numbers. This is how it looks. You got to multiply the absolute value of the number. So one way to do that. And if all numbers are positive, the product is positive. Now we want to count the number of negative signs, and this is important. We want to count the number of negative signs. An odd number of negative signs give a negative product. Again, multiplication, we use the word product for the answer. An even number of negative signs give a positive product. So let's look at what that means, even and odd. So odd numbers are like 1, 3, 5, 7. Even numbers are like 2, 4, 6, 8, and so forth. Let's look at an example to see how we multiply. In this case, we're multiplying 3 times a negative 5. Now notice we're not putting the multiplication sign of an X or a dot. With that parentheses next to the 3 is telling us that we're multiplying 3 times a negative 5. So basically just multiply 3 times 5. Just do that together. So 3 times 5 is 15. I know it took us a long time to get to the multiplication of 3 times 5, but we got to it. So 3 times 5 is 15. Now notice it's not 3 times 5, it's 3 times negative 5. Since it's an odd number for negative, so we're just going to say the answer is going to be a negative. So that would be a negative 15. That's the final answer for this one. So it's 3 times a negative 5. Now let's say we say negative 3 times a negative 5. In that case, we have 2 negative, that's even. So your final answer would be positive. So this would be a positive 15. The key is if you multiply, and basically if the signs are the same, multiplying, you end up with a positive. If one is positive, one is negative, then your final answer is negative. Let's do another one that's on this particular. Let's use 3 and 5 again. Let's say negative 3 times 5. And notice how I'm writing this many different ways. In this case, this here will equal, since when you have an odd number of negative, the answer, final answer would be negative. It'd be negative 15. Let's continue to look. Let's look at this one. Let's multiply, and we'll get this here. My PowerPoint is trying to go on its own. We want to multiply these numbers, and you could try this and pause it and try it on your own. So we want to multiply negative 3, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1. The main thing is just multiply the numbers together if you want to do that, and then count how many odds are there, or how many negatives there are. If it's odd, negative is a negative answer. If it's even, then it's positive. So let's see if I can get this correct. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so we have 6 negative. So we know overall we're going to have a positive answer overall. How do you know that? Because these two would become a positive, because there's 2. These 2 would be positive. These 2 would be positive. So this shows you that overall we're going to have a positive answer. And all we have to do here, as was shown earlier, is just multiply it through. And it gives us 36, and it'd be a positive 36 as a final answer. Now, the division of sign numbers is pretty much the same. If both numbers have the same sign, then it's going to be a positive. The quotient, the answer is going to be positive. If both numbers have unlikely signs, one is positive, one is negative, then the quotient is going to be negative. Basically, two positive, same signs, positive, opposite signs, the overall answer is negative. And basically just know how, you got to know how to divide the number and then decide if it's a positive or negative. Now notice this, we got a negative 20 divided by a negative 4. Both numbers are negative. They're the same sign. So my final answer should be positive. And so 20 divided by 4 is 5. And it's a positive 5 as a final answer. Let's look at another example that we can have. Let's divide 24 divided by a negative 8. Since one of the answers in this case, excuse me, if one of the numbers in this case is negative, my final answer would be negative because not both of them are the same, have the same sign, just one of them. So 24 divided by 8 is 3. But since we have one odd number of negative sign, we end up with a negative 3 as a final answer. So that's basic our lesson for multiplying and dividing sign numbers. If they have the same sign, two numbers have the same sign, your answer is positive. If one is positive, one is negative. If you're multiplying or dividing, then your final answer is negative. Again, you got to think about the odd number rule. If it's odd number of negative, your final answer is negative. Even number of negatives within your problem, then your final answer is positive. Again, I hope this helped. If you have any questions, please review the video again or look at some of our supplementary material on our MathLink Academy website. Again, thank you for watching this MathLink video.